Yes, it's me. God, how do you sign out of my account? Oh, golly. Ridiculous. Yes, yes. Oh, God. Okay, that's cool. Can I? Wow, I can't even. Come on. Good Lord. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Just a few things that we gotta take care of before we get started, because this is gonna be a conversation. What the? Come on, man. There we go. Just nah. Oh, okay. That's not good. All right. Golly. This thing the way it is crazy. All right. Oh, great. Oh, boy. Hi. This is fun. This is really fun. This is fun. This is fun. All right. All right. All right, so that's good. I hate having to take all of these precautions because it's not fun. But it must be done. All right. Uh-huh. There you go. Perfect site for this. Oh, okay. That was, All right. Sorry for the delay, guys. You know how it is. We always gotta do this. All right. I believe we should be good. One last thing before we get started, and I already know that y'all gonna have some things to say about this one. Oh boy, I know people gonna have some things to say about this one. Mixed feelings. I love getting an idea of how the flock feels just before I get on here to give my personal take, as well as hear your initial thoughts. Either way, we are good to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ravens flock, what is going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, day 2 of free agency has kicked off, and the Ravens finally did something, which is to be expected. The Ravens never do anything, or almost never do anything, on day 1. I think the last time I remember them actually doing something on day 1, it was them signing Marcus Williams, and we all saw how that worked out, so yeah. But the Ravens don't usually reach for players. They're very, very calculated with how they do things. They're not going to reach for anybody. They're going to take whatever the market gives them in terms of something that may be seen as a cheap deal or something that may be seen as a steal. The Ravens don't reach. So, like I told you guys, do not expect the Ravens to go out and get any major player. If you thought they were going to go out and trade for DK Metcalf and give him $30 million a year, you're crazy. If you thought they were going to go out there and make a deal or go out there and sign Devontae Adams, you're delusional. This is not how the Ravens operate. I've told you guys this before. They don't operate like this. It's clear as day how they operate. It's clear as day how they work. They're not going to make the type of moves you expect them to make. Well, not expect them to make. They're not going to make the type of moves you hope they make. But there's moves you should expect them to make. One of those moves is signing a veteran receiver that's out of his prime. That's usually where they go. It's really weird. A lot of the players the Ravens wanted, the Ravens don't even look their direction until they're out of their prime. And it's very, very concerning as to how that continues to be a situation, or how it continues to be the case for the Ravens, because you don't want them getting players out of their prime. But this is just how the Ravens operate. They've always been like this. So, if you don't know what's going on and you haven't heard the news, the Baltimore Ravens have signed DeAndre Hopkins to a 1-year contract worth about $6 million. I think he gets $4.5 million of that guaranteed, but it's a 1-year, $6 million deal. I'm not gonna lie, man. The Ravens are never gonna be that team that just goes out and signs a top-tier, high-level, free agent wide receiver in his prime. That's not the case. At the end of the day, this franchise is going to hold on to the fact that they drafted Bateman and Flowers. And the more those guys continue to improve and produce, the better off the franchise is going to look. Because they're going to look at that and say, we drafted 2 homegrown first-round receivers that worked out. Why should we go add another top-tier weapon? They weren't doing it before, they're not going to do it now. So, just give you that warning right now for anybody that thinks maybe one day they'll look to get one. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to get one. So, yeah, the Ravens, they signed DeAndre Hopkins to a 1-year deal. How do I feel about this? In all honesty, I'm not sitting here saying, oh my God, we gotta steal this offense. It's about to be lethal. But at the same time, I'm not sitting there saying, oh my God, this is garbage. What is EDC doing? Fire him. In all honesty, I think this is a decent move. If we're gonna be realistic, this move was made to replace Nelson Agholor, because Nelson Agholor is a free agent. He is a free agent, so he's not coming back. Nelson Agholor is not coming back, and they needed somebody to take that wide receiver 3 spot to replace Agholor. So basically, the way I'm looking at this is the Ravens chose to replace Nelson Agholor with DeAndre Hopkins. Hell, if I want to say it like this is basically the 2023 move they made. This is basically the Odell move. The move they got to go get Odell, just bring that veteran presence to kind of be that wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 given the circumstances. Yeah, that's basically what it is. He was just brought here. The heck? Oh, because it's raining you want me to... What? No, I was about to say, I'm like, I don't care if it's raining. Let me kick this. Oh, I'm going to miss this. But yeah, it's basically the Odell move from last year. It's nothing different. Not last year, from 2023. It's the Odell move from 2023. It's the Odell move from 2023. It's a cheap deal, and it basically replaces Nelson Agholor. So what they did is go out into free agency and get a veteran that fills the role they want him to fill and is better than Nelson Agholor. Yes, a decrepit, old, washed-up DeAndre Hopkins is still better than whatever Nelson Agholor was going to give you. So, yeah, is it an improvement in the receiver room? Technically, because you're replacing Nelson Agholor with DeAndre Hopkins, but it's not a major improvement to the point where you look at this receiving core and say, oh, they're lethal. You've got Flowers, you've got Bateman, and now D-Hop? Good luck stopping this offense with the Andrews and Likely. I don't really look at this as some lethal combination in terms of adding D-Hop. Well, OBJ wasn't a cheap deal. That is true. OBJ was not a cheap deal. When they give him like $16 million, it wasn't a cheap deal. This actually is a cheap deal. So I would say in some cases, this works out better than how the OBJ move worked out. The money they gave OBJ was a lot more than this one. He's getting $6 million. It's a very cheap deal. I'm not mad at it because it's a very cheap deal, and you're bringing in a guy that's gonna be better. I don't know if he's gonna produce more than Nelson Aguilar produced, although I don't think it's gonna be hard to do that. But he's going to be better than what Nelson Aguilar was. Everyone was ready for Nelson Aguilar to get off the team. They said, we're going to bring in a veteran. We're going to do it on a cheap deal, and this is the cheap deal. They got a guy to replace Nelson Aguilar as the wide receiver 3, and that's just how it is. So I look at this and say it's an actual good move. And man, I should be paying attention to the game. But yeah, I look at this and say it's a good move. I'm not mad at it. I don't look at it as a great move. Oh yeah, EDC fleece. No. Signing Ronnie Stanley to $20 million a year. That's a great move. That's the best move they made all offseason. Because Stanley would have got $25 million minimum. Hell, the Patriots would have probably thrown him $30 million a year. If Ronnie Stanley would have hit free agency, he wouldn't have came back. So they signed a guy that probably would have got $25 to $30 million on the market. They signed him for $20 million a year. That is the best move EDC's made all offseason. They brought back Patrick Ricard for a year on a cheap deal, so that's also great. But this move again, I don't see it as a situation where it's a grand move, but I think it's a really good move. It's on a cheap deal. It's better than what you were doing with Odell when you gave him like 15, 16 million. You're giving D-Hop $6 million. So it's on a cheap deal. It's a good move, and you basically replace Nelson Aguilar. Honestly, it's a good move. It's a smart move, and it's a good move. I know people want to see the Ravens make the flash plays and go out there and get these big top-tier receivers in their prime, but that's not how the Ravens operate. Not to mention, the Ravens have always been the type of individuals that sit back and say we like our guys over going out and getting top-tier talent. They're never going to sign a receiver to $30+ million. It's just not going to happen. What am I doing? They're never going to sign a receiver I'm never going to sign a receiver free agency and give him $30 million. It's not going to happen. Get those delusions out of your head. It's not going to happen. So, at the end of the day, you're going to have to accept that this is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get veteran receivers at the end of their prime on cheap deals. Yeah, I got hit. That's essentially what you're going to get. So the sooner you guys accept that that is the reality of the situation, the better off you're going to be. But when it comes to this move specifically, I think it's a good move. It's a good move. It's a smart move. You're bringing in a veteran guy to replace the production or replace the guy that Nelson Aguilar was going to be. So you're basically replacing that. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So I look at this and say, yeah, I think it's a good move. I think it's a really good move because you're getting him on a cheap deal. He's going to be able to at least replicate at the very best. At the very worst, he'll be he'll either provide you the same type of production you got from Nelson Aguilar, or he'll be better. So take it as you will. That's just how I see it for the most part. But, yeah, let me take a look at some of these comments. I'll probably speak a little bit more on it in terms of how this could potentially work out, in terms of what other moves the Ravens could potentially make in free agency. How do you feel about the Commanders' free agency? Oh, he's running. Yeah, how do you feel about the Commanders' free agency? I love that they're spending. I love that they're making moves. I love that they're willing to spend money to get free agents here, and I think so far the Commanders have not been afraid. By the way, the tons of moves, the trade they made with the Texans, that might be the best move anybody's made in free agency so far. I'm arguing that. I'm not saying it is. You know, you look at the Rams signing Devontae Adams to make that offense lethal. You look at a few moves like that. But I think that might be one of the best moves anybody's made in free agency. The Commanders are doing their due diligence to making sure Jaden Daniels, one, has some more weapons because we lost De'Ami Brown, but so they get Deebo Samuel, but making sure he's getting the protection he needs. I sat back and said, you've got to protect him. Protection is needed, and they're doing that. They're adding pieces to the defense. They made sure Bobby Wagner is going to stay. They're adding to the secondary, so that's a good thing. Well, they're adding to the defense as a whole. They lost Allen. They weren't going to be able to pay him. Now he's with the Vikings, I believe. Yeah, they're making smart moves. They're making smart moves, and they're making great signings, and I love what I'm seeing with the Commanders. Shout out to the Truth for the $4.99 donation. Saying D-Hop is washed is hilarious, but he's an upgrade from Tylen, Nelly, and Tez. Oh, yeah, he's definitely washed in terms of where he was. We know what D-Hop was in his prime. D-Hop in his prime was a top 5, arguably top 3 receiver. In some cases, he played like the best receiver in football. That's what he was in his prime. So, yeah, D-Hop in his prime was a top 3, like top 5, arguably top 3. Some days he was the best receiver in football in some of those cases. So compared to that guy, yeah, he is washed. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have anything left in the tank. I'm sure he still has plenty more left in the tank. Probably got at least a couple of years left before he's going to bow out and ultimately retire. But he's got something left in the tank. And that's what ultimately matters. Still having something left in the tank. And if you looked how he played with the Chiefs, honestly, he had a good season with the Chiefs. Not a great season, but a good season with the Chiefs. He had a good season with the Chiefs. And he was pretty productive for them. It's just he had some bad moments. And obviously the Super Bowl being the worst moment. No one's ever going to forget the fact that he dropped a pass when he was wide open. In the Super Bowl. He did not play well in that Super Bowl. And he's not like he was balling out in the playoffs as a whole. But again, he could still be productive. And considering you're signing him to be your wide receiver 3, I don't see that as a problem. Because again, he's taking the Nelson Aguilar role. And since he's taking the Nelson Aguilar role, you could expect to see him be somewhat productive. But not productive to the point where he's ultimately going to be taking over targets from Bateman and Flowers. Bateman and Flowers, those are your top 2 receivers. You know what you're getting from them. They've both been great for you. Bateman having his breakout season last year. Flowers being Flowers. You know what you're getting from those 2. So those are your top 2 receivers. You don't need to worry about anything else. You just wanted that 3rd receiver for depth purposes to make sure you have the guys you need to have in terms of reliable pass catchers for Lamar Jackson to utilize. And that's ultimately what you're getting from somebody like D-Hop, as compared to somebody like a Nelson Aguilar. So, yeah, he is washed, but that doesn't mean he still can't play, and that doesn't mean he still can't produce. He's washed in comparison to what he was in his prime. He's no longer that D-Hop, but D-Hop can still play and still produce. And him being a wide receiver 3, knowing he's not going to get all the attention because most of the attention is going to go to Flowers and Bateman, that's going to leave opportunities for DeAndre Hopkins to have a lot of one-on-one matchups. And if he can consistently win those one-on-one matchups, then he's going to make a lot of plays for the Ravens offense. That's just how it is at the end of the day. 2 years too late for D-Hop, but at least we got a vet to teach the new guys. It's essentially the Odell signing, but much cheaper. It's what they did in 2023 with Odell, but it's much, much cheaper. And yeah, it's a few years too late compared to when we wanted him. But at the same time, it's like it's fine now specifically because things just happen to work out for the Ravens. And when I mean it happened to work out, it really happened to work out. Like, they legitimately got... You got to be happy that somehow, some way, both Flowers and Bateman worked out for them. That's essentially it. Flowers and Bateman working out for them ultimately leads to them being able to make a move like this that doesn't completely piss off the fan base. Because again, D-Hop's not going to be a top 2. He's not wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. He's wide receiver 3. So you're not concerned with him being the main guy because he's not the main guy. He's not. So I don't have to worry about what he's going to be in terms of defensive attention because he's not the main guy. The targets are going to go to Flowers and Bateman. So that's going to leave him with some one-on-one matchups. And when Nelson Aguilar was in these one-on-one matchups, he didn't do anything with it. Let's see if D-Hop can do something with it. That's just how it is. Yeah, this is like signing OBJ, absolutely. Only on a much cheaper deal. I would rather have DK, but I accept D-Hop. You got $33 million a year to pay him? If you got $33 million a year to pay him, by all means, you go get a D-Hop. The Steelers can make that deal because they had the money to give him. The Ravens don't have $33 million to spend on a wide receiver. Nor would they even entertain the idea of giving a wide receiver $33 million. That's just not going to happen. That's not how the Ravens operate. They're never going to sit back and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to give $33 million to a wide receiver. That's not how the Ravens operate. That's never been how they operate. That's never going to be how they operate. Contracts are going to come up when it comes to... Oh, what? He didn't make that tackle? Contracts, when it comes to contract negotiation for Flowers and Bateman, once those contracts come up, it's going to be a tougher one, which is why the contract they got for Bateman worked out, because Bateman ended up having a breakout year. We'll see if he can do that again this year. But legitimately, when it comes to contracts with them, it's going to be difficult to see how that's going to go, because if these guys continue to improve and raise their level, it's going to be a very difficult process for them, because they're going to have to pay them that money. But right now, things worked out for the Ravens in terms of how the receiving core went for both Bateman and Flowers, so they can make a move like this. Are you kidding me? Get off the way, dude! That's a pick! They need to improve the O-line. Pretty much just the guards. Like I said, your right tackle's fine. Right, you already got your right tackle in Roger Rosengarten. You're not looking anywhere else. You've got your center in Tyler Linderbaum. You're fine there. And you just signed Ronnie Stanley, so your left tackle's good. The only thing you need to improve on the offensive line is the guard position. Now, they seem to really love Faalele, so there's nothing we can do about that. Maybe they try to add another depth piece. I don't know. But they are in love with Faalele, so I don't know how that's going to go. But that left guard position needs to be filled out. Thankfully, they let Patrick McCarry walk. He got himself a deal. So that left guard position needs to be filled out. Andrew Voorhees has had his opportunities, but they haven't liked what they've seen from Voorhees. So the draft will be a great time to address the guard position, and it'll probably be them looking for a left guard. So we'll see how that works out. I'm not mad at this move at all. Neither. I'm not looking at it as a great move, but I'm not looking at it as a bad move. I think it's a solid move. It's a good move. It's a move that benefits the Ravens, especially because it's a cheap deal. They just needed a veteran receiver. At the end of the day, Flowers and Bateman are that's the duo. Flowers and Bateman is the wide receiver duo that they want. If those guys don't do their job, they just don't do their job. But those are the guys you want. Okay, at the end of the day, those are the two they want. Those are the two that they want. Stanley would have got $35 million easily. He would have got a freaking bag. He would have got a bag. Can EDC ever fix this O-line? It's just the guards. It's just the guards at this point. Your left tackle solidified, your right tackle solidified, your center solidified. It's just the guards at this point. So can he fix the guard position? I don't know. We'll see. But it's literally just the guards. It's not even a position where it's like, oh yeah, the entire O-line needs to be fixed. No, it's just the guard position. I argue both the left and right guard, but you know, they're gonna do whatever they want to do. But yeah, I would argue just the left guard and the right guard position, but they're probably gonna sit back and just say the left guard position because they like Faalele too much. This is how it is. Resigning Pat was a good move. It definitely was a good move because I mean he's utilized everywhere. Again, just being your fullback, being an extra offensive lineman. They even use him on the defense sometimes. He's somebody that's incredibly valuable to what this team wants to do. So, oh snap! I didn't mean to keep it. I didn't mean to keep it. I did not mean to keep it. But yeah, does Lamar request a trade after this year? Why would he request a trade? Why would he request a trade? What would be the reason behind him requesting a trade? I don't get the reason why he would request a trade. It's not like it's like if you're looking at what he has to work with on offense, we're not going to pretend that Lamar Jackson doesn't have weapons. Oh, he just worked them. Okay. No, I don't see why he would even entertain the thought of. I don't know why he would entertain the thought of asking for a trade, nor I don't understand why he would assume he would entertain the thought of asking for a trade. Holy crap, he caught that. Aguilar actually caught that. But no, I don't see Lamar doing that. I don't see why he would even entertain the thought in the first place.
It was such a privilege for me to watch Marvin Harrison.
I just came through. What are your thoughts on the D-Hop signing? I think it's solid, especially considering he's coming off for chump change. Well, I just finished speaking on that, but I'll give you the cliff notes. I don't think it's a terrible deal. I don't think it's a great deal. I think it's a solid deal. I think it's a smart deal. I think it's a really good deal if I was to give it the highest praise. At the end of the day, he's coming here to be wide receiver 3. He's coming here to take the spot that Nelson Aguilar had. And if you're asking me who's better, DeAndre Hopkins at this stage of his career or Nelson Aguilar? The answer is easily DeAndre Hopkins, without question, without hesitation. That's just the reality of the situation. So he's coming here to be that wide receiver 3. He's not going to be the guy that's getting all the attention. The attention is going to go to Bateman and Flowers. So Hopkins going to have a lot of one-on-one matchups, similar to what Aguilar was getting. Aguilar could not win those one-on-one matchups. Let's see if D-Hop can win those one-on-one matchups. At the end of the day, you're getting him for a cheap deal. This is basically the Odell type of signing, but you get him on a much cheaper deal. So it's like it's like the 2023 Odell move, but on a much cheaper scale because you're only giving up $6 million. You're getting him for chump change, essentially, just like you said. So I got no problem with it. I'm fine with the move. I look at it and say it's a good signing. It's a smart signing by the Ravens. At the end of the day, it's a 1-year deal. So if it doesn't work out, at the end of the day, you can easily just move off of him. You can choose to move off of him. If it does work out, maybe you give him another year deal. At the end of the day, it's honestly a win-win situation. No, not a win-win situation. Of course he misses that. It's not a win-win situation. It's more so of what's it called? Low risk, low. It's a low risk, high reward. I wouldn't say low reward. Low risk, high reward type of signing, because if he works out, wow, for $6 million, you're gonna get that type of production, and maybe he can help you make some clutch plays in the playoffs. Who knows? But I don't know. But if it doesn't work out, you cut your losses at the end of the offseason, well, at the end of the season, heading into the 2026 offseason, and you just move off of D-Hop. It's a 1-year deal, $6 million. It's not going to break the bank, and you're going to be relatively fine. So I don't have a problem with it. How does that even happen? He also had Justin Fields on the Jets now, so I think Russell Wilson's going to be their starter. Well, it's either going to be Russell Wilson or it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, because it looks like they're either going to try to sign Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if they're going to. We'll just have to wait and see. So either they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson's going to have to come back. He also had some really good games with Kansas City last year. I pointed that out as well. And when you add on to the fact that he joined in the middle of the season in an offense that wasn't as explosive as ours, I can see him being clutch. We'll see. At the end of the day, he's playing the Nelson Aguilar role, which means he's going to have opportunities to have a lot of one-on-one matchups. Because, again, teams aren't going to be looking to double-team D-Hop consistently when you have to deal with Flowers and Bateman. Flowers being one of the more explosive receivers in the league and also very difficult to have to cover, and Bateman being one of the best receivers at creating separation in one-on-one matchups, it's basically going to force teams to have to cover both those guys. So D-Hop is not going to be the primary receiver or primary target of focus when it comes to double teams. There's going to be times where they're going to look to double team Flowers. There's going to be times where they look to put more of an emphasis on Rashad Bateman when he is on those one-on-one matchups to the outside. And that's going to leave opportunities for a DeAndre Hopkins to go out and make some moves. Because, again, last year, when that was happening with Nelson Aguilar, people were hopeful that Nelson Aguilar would be able to take advantage of that. But Nelson Aguilar was not taking advantage of that. And we saw moments when he was just absolutely just stinking up the joint. He's stinking up the joint by just dropping pass after pass after pass after pass. He'd be open downfield. Lamar would see him because he's got a one-on-one matchup, and Buddy would just drop the pass. And everyone's like, why are you throwing that type of pass to Nelson Aguilar, knowing damn well he's not making that catch? And that was the funny part, too. Everyone's like, it's Nelson Aguilar. He's not one of the top receivers in the game. If he's one of the top receivers in the game, by all means, you make a throw like that. But to Nelson Aguilar, I'm not making a throw like that to Nelson Aguilar. And it was a perfect throw by Lamar, don't get me wrong. No one's saying Lamar made a bad throw. It's just throwing that type of pass to Nelson Aguilar, like he can win that type of contested, that he can make that type of contested catch over the throw short. No. There were a few plays where Aguilar just could not get anything, bro. So people were ready to see the Ravens move off of this guy. And obviously it happened. So, yeah. I'm not mad about this move. We got a nice wide receiver trio. At the end of the day, the Ravens are never going to have the elite of the elite talent when it comes to wide receiver trio. You just want guys that can be productive and effective in the biggest moments. That's just it. If I can have guys that are effective in the biggest moments, I'll live with the results. That's just me. That's just me. We need to get Tyler Wallace back, too, and our wide receiver room is going to be set for the year, in my opinion. Yeah, I definitely would look to try to get Tyler Wallace back. The thing about it is he's been very solid in the moments he's been out there. He just doesn't get the opportunities. No one's going to sit back and argue and say, oh, yeah, he's a top-tier wide receiver. He's not. But, I mean, he's productive. For a wide receiver 4, he's incredibly productive. I don't see why you don't even give him a look. Or you don't give him more opportunities. Just take a look at how he's performed. I mean, if we're going to be honest, when you take a look at how he's performed, he has been very consistent when he's been on the field. He has made plays when he's been on the field. So he should definitely get more looks. Oh, okay. He should definitely get more looks. But, you know, the Ravens operate the way they want to operate. You know, a guy that's actually making plays consistently, should we let him be out there? No, let's keep Nelson Aguilar out there with Tylan Wallace, who looks to be more productive than him. That's just what the Ravens chose to do. So it is what it is at the end of the day. You know, I'm not here to argue that aspect at all. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, you just go with it and you deal with it. But yeah, the D-Hop signing is a good signing. The Ravens making smart moves. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Day one of free agency was so chaotic. It was so chaotic, dog. It was so chaotic. It was incredibly chaotic. Nothing short of teams overpaying for players. It was nothing but a huge haul of overpaying. Guys were getting contracts that they were not worth. Not saying they shouldn't get the contract. Shout out to them. Congrats to getting that type of money. But in terms of value per production, they were not worth the type of money that they were getting. They were getting overpaid. They should have got less. But at the end of the day, am I mad that they got more? Hell no. At the end of the day, free agency, especially day one of free agency, is when you overpay. So I'm not mad at them. Get your bread, get your money. I'm happy for them. Shout out to them for getting their money. It's just that people will see, well, Ravens flock, they'll see the other teams making all these moves and giving out these huge contracts, and then they'll sit back and ask, well, where's the Ravens? Are they going to make a move? And it's like, no. The Ravens don't got that type of money, and even if they did, they would never make those type of moves because they're not going to overpay. The Steelers gave DK Metcalf $33 million a year. Are you crazy? DK Metcalf's a dog, but $33 million a year? Also, Cincinnati's got to be crying right now. How the hell are they going to pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? They're going to have to give Jamar Chase 40. If DK Metcalf's getting $33 million a year, Jamar Chase got to be worth 40. He's got to be worth 40. He's got to be worth 40. If DK's getting 33, Jamar Chase got to get 40. He's got to get 40. It only makes sense. He's got to get 40. He's got to get 40. I don't want another heartbreaking loss in the playoffs, but this is the Ravens we're talking about. Yeah, get used to it. Or if you're not used to it, learn to get used to it. Ain't nothing going to change. Who do you want to be the quarterback for the Steelers? I could care less. I don't care. It doesn't matter which quarterback they get. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. They don't. I'm just being honest. It doesn't matter which quarterback they get. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. So it don't matter which quarterback they get. They're not going to win a Super Bowl, and I'm not overly concerned with it. But yeah, in between Rodgers or Wilson, I would prefer them to get... I mean, if they get Aaron Rodgers, they have a chance to be a little bit more lethal offensively because Aaron Rodgers can still throw the football. But if you add Aaron Rodgers to that locker room, it's going to be nothing but toxicity. You already got DK Metcalf and George Pickens together, so you got a crash out duo, and now you want to add this drama guy in Aaron Rodgers. The level of toxicity in that locker room, oh my god. At the end of the day, you know what? Days of our Steelers will return. If Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler, days of our Steelers will return, because that is nothing short of a comedy that will go on in Pittsburgh. They'll win some games, no question. They'll be a team over 500, no question. They may even make the playoffs. But they ain't doing anything in the postseason, and everybody knows that. We don't even need to pretend. But yeah, that's if they get Rodgers. If they get Wilson, they're going to get a season similar to last year, and there's going to be a lot of disappointment towards the end. So honestly, it doesn't matter who they get, in my opinion. You can take either or. It'll be entertaining, no less. Not gonna win anything significant, but I'm all for it. I'm all for Aaron Rodgers getting it, if that's the case, and I'm all for Russell Wilson coming back, because either way, the Steelers won't be winning the Super Bowl with whatever quarterback they choose. Don't forget they got to pay Hendricks. They do, but he already asked for a trade. Pretty sure he already asked for a trade. They can't afford him. I mean, they're gonna try, but they can't afford him. The Cincinnati Bengals are doing everything wrong. They're doing everything wrong, and I love that they're doing everything wrong. I love that they're doing everything wrong. I just love it. I love that they're doing everything wrong. And I hope they continue to do everything wrong. I hope they continue to do everything wrong. Because they're going to waste a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's going to leave with nothing. He's going to end up going through the Dan Marino gauntlet where he got to the Super Bowl in his second year and never got close to returning again because he never had a defense good enough to get him there, and his front office and his organization as a whole failed him. That's basically what's going to be the case. Typical Ravens move. Welcome to Baltimore, D-Hop. I mean, it's absolutely a typical Ravens move. It's not even surprising. The Ravens always sign veterans on these low deals. I specifically said if the Ravens were going to sign a receiver, it was going to be some sort of receiver on a vet deal, like one of the veteran minimum deals or like a low deal. And it would be more of an older veteran. They're not going to spend money on a top-tier receiver. They're not. If they weren't willing to do that when they didn't have wide receiver talent, why the hell would they do that when they got Bateman and Flowers? I'm being serious. Before they had Bateman and Flowers, they weren't even willing to put out that type of top-tier money for a receiver. Why would they do that now that they got Bateman and Flowers? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in the slightest. They weren't willing to do it when Bateman and Flowers weren't on the team. They're certainly not going to do it with those two there now. That's their wide receiver duo. Bateman and Flowers are their wide receiver duo. They're perfectly fine with that. They're perfectly okay with that. They just want to hope that they want to see those two continue to grow, and they hope those two continue to grow. Flowers became a Pro Bowler last year, and Bateman had his breakout year. So everything worked out in the way that the Ravens wanted it to. Of course, I mean, I guess my secondary is not showing up today. No one is even getting to the quarterback. Perfect. Good job, guys. But, yeah. They're not even, oh, snap. Get it and take it. Legitimately, they're not even going to pretend. They're not even going to pretend. Give me that too. They're not even going to pretend that they're going to look for these top tier guys. So, yeah, D-Hop works perfectly. He basically replaces Nelson Aguilar. That's all they wanted. A replacement for Nelson Aguilar. I hope the Steelers and Bengals continue the offseason they're having. It may equal a third straight AFC North title for us. I'm going to be honest. It doesn't matter what those two teams do. If Lamar Jackson's healthy, they're going to win the division. If Lamar Jackson's healthy, most likely they're just going to win the division. Now, who knows? Maybe we get a down year from the Ravens, or you get a red-hot season from the Cincinnati Bengals, and they just somehow take the division. But, again, when Lamar is healthy, they usually win the division. Just saying. One in 2019, one in 2023, one in last year. And then you look at 2021 and 2022, you were leading the division with Lamar Jackson there, and then he got hurt, and then you lost the division to Cincinnati because you lost the lead you had in the division. If he stays healthy, they go on to win the AFC North in both those years. So it's just one of those situations at the end of the day. But, yeah, it doesn't matter what those two teams. The Steelers will be a team over 500. Cincinnati will be fighting for their life for a wild card spot. Baltimore is most likely going to win the division. Right now, in my opinion, Baltimore's only threat in the AFC is the Chiefs, of course, and the Bills. That's it. The Bills, it's a three-man race between the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens to see who's going to get to the Super Bowl. That's just where it is. So Baltimore's got to do their job to make sure they don't blow it against Buffalo when they see them next year. And they've got to figure out how the hell they're going to beat Kansas City. That's essentially the overall discussion, because with the Bills, they just made mistakes. But for some reason, oh God, that's going to be bad. For some reason, they just can't seem to beat the Chiefs. I don't know what it is and what's the reason behind it, but they can't beat the Chiefs. They absolutely can't beat the Chiefs. For whatever reason, they can't beat the Chiefs. It's annoying to deal with. They just can't beat the Chiefs. A nice upgrade at wide receiver 3. Yeah, that's a nice upgrade at wide receiver 3. Now let's fix that secondary in the trenches. In all honesty, the secondary is not something that needs to be majorly fixed. It's two things that need to happen. They got to go get themselves a corner. They got to re-sign Ardarius Washington. Re-sign Ardarius Washington. Get yourself a corner, and you're good. Because again, you got Humphrey there, you've got Hamilton there, you've got Wiggins there. You're pretty much set for there. They did let go of Arthur Millette, which makes sense because he just couldn't stay healthy. That's what you expect to see when a guy's not healthy. It is what it is. It's unfortunate, but that's what you expect to see when a guy is not able to stay healthy, unfortunately. But yeah, for the most part, they need to make sure they go get. Make sure they keep Ardarius Washington. After that, you look towards the draft. What about safety depth? Well, that's what the draft's for. You're not going to look for a safety in the free agency. They've tried that before. It didn't work with Marcus Williams. At some point, they got to get Marcus Williams off the team, so that's it. The only goal in free agency is to make sure they bring back Ardarius Washington. If they want to get safety depth, they can get that in the draft. They can get that in the draft. Marcus Williams is still on the team, and they have to look for a way to get him off. But if you're looking for safety depth for this team, that's what the draft's for. You're not going to use free agency. Oh, God, that's not the play I wanted. That's not the play I wanted. I'm in trouble. Oh, my God. Jesus. I expect seasonal Ravens to show up, then playoff heartbreak. They are keeping Mark Andrews. Ravens need a pass rusher. Yeah, they're gonna. Well, yeah, they're most likely keeping Mark Andrews. I don't see why they're gonna move off of him. There was never any thoughts about that. But yeah, the Ravens do need a pass rusher. We'll see where that's gonna go. They're probably gonna look to do that in the draft as well. I don't see them getting a pass rusher in free agency. A lot of this stuff that we're talking about is gonna be addressed in the draft. That's just how the Ravens do. They got 11 draft picks. They're gonna draft guys for the draft. Where do you want to get a cornerback? I mean, I've been one to say they should probably, the move that they're going to make in free agency, the big splash play. The big splash play that I said they're going to make is going out and getting Jair. So I'm still the mindset that they're probably going to make the attempt. It depends on what Green Bay's going to do. But I still think they're going to at least try to make the attempt to get Jair. I still feel that way. That has not changed. So we'll see about that. I'm still thinking they're going to go try and get Jair on this team. We'll see if that remains to be the case. I'm not sure. But I'm still the mindset they're going to try to get Jair. But I wouldn't mind them addressing corner in the draft if they could find somebody that can come in immediately. At the end of the day, they still do got somebody in TJ Tampa. Oh, perfect. They still do got somebody in TJ Tampa that they do like, and he did have an opportunity to showcase what he can do in his rookie year like Nate Wiggins did. TJ Tampa was just dealing with a lot of injuries, so it's not like he could have done anything during that time. So it's one of those unfortunate situations for them. Yeah, I really don't care about this game right now. But yeah, I could easily see them. Addressing corner in the draft. I don't think they're going to, but they could easily look to address corner in the draft, which we'll see if they do that. I don't know if they're going to, but we'll see if they do that. Ravens drafted 2 safeties last year. They did. Bo's still on the team. I forgot about that. He is still on the team. So they could easily just go with that. Who knows? But they're gonna want a lot more depth in the safety aspect. They're just gonna want that. That's what they're gonna want.
Options are open here. It's 2nd and inches.
Steelers are going to show out this year. We're going to struggle against them. Well, I am not paying attention to the game at all. Trying to play a game and looking at the comment section. I'm just giving up all these plays. I don't think I really care. If I wanted to win the game, I could just play focus. Surprisingly realistic considering our secondary last year. I'm not gonna lie, I have not been paying attention to the game. The last 20 minutes, I've literally just been reading you guys' comments. So I have no idea what's been happening in the game. I might have made a few, missed a lot of throws. I don't know. But yeah, it's reported that Marcus Williams and Arthur Millette to be released. It was tweeted 15 to 20 minutes ago. Then that means it was, I've been here for about 40 minutes. So yeah, I definitely missed that. If it was tweeted out 15 to 20 minutes ago. I know about Arthur Millette. I didn't know they were planning to release Marcus Williams. So that means that probably came out during... what the... That wasn't what I was trying to do.
All right, some adjustments
Okay.
in store, no doubt about that. Their head is
But yeah,
trailing as he kneels to end this first half.
that means that most like that report probably came out when in the middle of me streaming this. So if they're planning to release Marcus Williams like I expected them to, and now it's been reported, then I can just sit back and wait to see how that's ultimately going to go for them.
Made the throw
That's fine.
as he was getting hit, Brock, and it's incomplete.
But yeah, Steelers going to show out who's going to be the quarterback throwing for them.
Now we'll send you south to
Like
Orlando
who's going to be the quarterback
Jonathan Coachman
that's throwing the ball for them? Because again, when Pittsburgh beat us in Pittsburgh last year, it was 18-16. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. So it wasn't because their offense was killing us. It was because their defense forced like 3 turnovers against our offense. So again, yeah, DK Metcalf and George Pickens is going to be going to be a very interesting duel to see. But who's throwing the football to them? Do you trust Russell Wilson enough to be able to make plays to those two guys? Is it Aaron Rodgers that's doing it? I don't know. So I'm not fully sure about that aspect. But hey, I think the Steelers are going to have another interesting season. That's probably going to result in what's been the case for them for a while now. And I don't think Steelers fans want to continue to go through the motions. I want the Ravens to draft that Boston edge rusher, Devontae Urza, or whatever his name is. I haven't really been looking at the mock draft, so I have no idea about any of these guys.
And that's good yardage with a new set of downs.
But yeah, Ravens will probably address a lot of stuff in the draft. Again, they're never really active in free agency. I'm still thinking the team's going to try to make one of those splash plays in free agency, and I'm still thinking Jair is one of those guys they're going to look to get. But I don't know. Jair might be one of those guys they're going to look to get. Oh, wow, no one's making any blocks. Giving up 60 points. Nobody's blocking. That's hilarious to me. Nobody's blocking. Like, nobody's blocking right now. It really don't matter. But yeah, I still think the Ravens are going to make most of their plays most of their moves via free agency. Not free agency, via the draft. They're not going to really make a lot of moves in free agency. A lot of the spots that need to be addressed will most likely be addressed in the draft. So again, getting a veteran wide receiver basically solidifies what they want. I don't expect them to go out and get another receiver. Anybody that thought the Ravens could potentially go get Cooper Kupp, yeah, that dream is dead. That Cooper Kupp dream is as good as dead. So I don't see that being the case anymore. I don't see that being the case anymore. So yeah, that Cooper Kupp to Baltimore dream is officially done. The guy that they got as their veteran receiver is DeAndre Hopkins, and y'all just gonna have to deal with that.
Play fake, Jackson.
Well, I mean, it's essentially did you hear about the extra fourth pick and 2 6-round picks? Yeah, essentially it's basically we were already gonna have 11 picks. We just didn't know where those picks were gonna come from. Because, you always get these comp picks, and they were already expected to have those comp picks. So we already knew they were going to have 11 draft picks. We just didn't know whether they were going to be 4th round, 5th round picks. We didn't know what they were going to be. Now we do. A-Rod has 1 or 2 more years. I think he has something in the tank. Yeah, he has something in the tank. It won't be enough to take the Steelers to the Super Bowl, but it'll be enough to at least be competitive in the division and potentially take them to the playoffs. I've been on record saying this. A-Rod is going to be good enough to give the Steelers what Russell Wilson gave them last year. He's going to be a good quarterback, have a good season, put up numbers, and ultimately help that team get to the playoffs. Past that, nah. Past that, they're most likely a 1st round exit. That's just how it is. So, So those picks are included in the 11. Yeah, they're included in the 11. It's not like the Ravens have 15 draft picks now. No, they had 11. It's just the Ravens didn't know what those 11 picks were going to pertain. They knew they were getting these extra comp picks, but they didn't know if they were going to be 4th rounders, 5th rounders. They're just added because initially the Ravens had 7 draft picks, and then it was said they were going to have 11 draft picks because they were going to get 4 comp picks, and we didn't know what those 4 comp picks were going to pertain. Now we do know what those 4 comp picks pertain. It's essentially the 4th rounder, the 5th round, and the 2 6 rounders. So, yeah, that's just how it is at the end of the day for the most part. but it was already predicted to be 11 picks for the Ravens this year. Not too much to really look at there. Even if the Steelers aren't a serious threat, they can screw us over and give us a loss, which might mess up with the playoff seeding. If we allow that to happen, that's on us. I'm not gonna lie. If we really sit back and allow that to happen, we got no one else to blame but ourselves. Like I said, when we lost to the Browns and we lost to the Raiders, those aspects literally change the aspect of playoff seeding. If you don't lose to the Raiders, you don't lose to the Browns, you're the number one, not the number one seed, you're the number 2 seed, and Buffalo's got to come to Baltimore instead of us having to travel to Buffalo. Playoff seeding is important, so the Ravens need to be aware of that. And if they're not aware of that, that's on them. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing anyone else can do about it. They got to be the ones that are aware of it. Come on! That's kind of just how it is at the end of the day. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. Ravens are just gonna have to. Ravens are just gonna have to, execute on the field and win games they're supposed to win. They're too good to not win this division, and they're far too good to not at least be a top 3 seed. I mean, then again, they were the 3rd seed last year, so it's not like they wouldn't. Steelers trying to recreate Ravens' former duel.
First down, here's Lamar.
It wasn't a duo that was anything entertaining, right? I mean, Patrick Queen and Malik Harrison weren't doing anything before. Weren't doing anything significant. Though I've been on record saying Patrick Queen was slowly improving every year. It's just that when Roquan Smith came, we saw that massive improvement that 2023 season. But we can't just sit here and pretend that this man was just doing nothing and was complete garbage, and all of a sudden Roquan Smith came and then he turned into an all-pro type line. No. Patrick Queen was improving every single year. The problem is he was improving so damn slowly, people were looking at this and saying, I don't know if he's the guy, because he's improving so slowly, I don't know if we can trust him to be the face of that defense. So that's kind of just how it is. But yeah, Pittsburgh essentially got our linebacking duo.
They're going to lose the first of their 3 timeouts for their
Jair costs too much. Well, again, it's more so of, well, you could trade for him and then restructure his deal to make it work, or you could hope the Green Bay Packers release Jair. It really just depends on what the Packers are going to do. Just being very honest about this, the Ravens they're not going to trade for Jair unless they can find a way to get some sort of deal that will allow them to restructure his contract or something to make the money work. Yeah, Hopkins really signed with the Ravens. Hopkins really signed with the Ravens. That's not a joke. He signed with the Ravens. He signed with the Ravens on a 1-year deal. So yeah, it can work. It's just you have to see how the numbers is. Or they could just potentially see if the Packers are gonna actually release Jair, which I don't think is gonna actually happen, but things go the way it goes.
Tucker on for the extra point.
We can only afford Jair if we cut Andrews, which, again, they could potentially do, which I don't think they're going to, but they could do. Like I said, they could do. I don't know. The Ravens usually make one big splash play in free agency, and I think that big splash play will be to find a way to get Jair to Baltimore. Not saying it's going to happen, but I think that's their big splash play. I've seen other people try to say that the Ravens are going to try to go after Micah Parsons, which I don't know where y'all think that's going to happen. Jerry Jones is not trading away Micah Parsons. If he does that, he's got to be... If he does that, that means he was never going to pay Micah Parsons the money he wants. Micah Parsons actively wants to stay in Dallas. He actively wants to stay in Dallas. If Jerry Jones can't give him that contract, he might look to trade him. If he doesn't want to give him that contract, better yet, he might look to trade him. And I don't think he's going to do that. So, again, people are saying that the Ravens could try to trade for Micah Parsons, but I don't see how that's going to happen.
Burrow to the air now. He goes back to him yet again. Complete.
But, yeah, that's just how it is. And, yeah, they're not cutting Mark Andrews. They're absolutely not going to cut Mark Andrews. I just don't see that being the case. If he gets cut, he can go to the highest bidder. I can name multiple. Who, Jair? If you're talking about Jair, yeah, he can go to a lot of places. Same for Mark Andrews. If they cut Mark Andrews, there'll be a bunch of places that'll look to get him.
Buying some time right. And that's good yardage
Wow, I
there.
got a bunch of slow guys. I mean, I know it's raining, but damn, y'all can't catch one dude.
From the 41.
Great. They don't switch to. I'll go back. Oh, you're talking about Jair? Yeah. I mean, if he was to be released, he would definitely have a huge market. It would come down to the Ravens having to look. They potentially have to give him a big deal. I don't know if they would, but you know how that works out. But yeah, either way, whether it's Jair, whether it's Mark Andrews, both would have markets because teams could definitely use their production. So that's just how it is.
And he rips off good yardage, but it will not move the chains.
But we'll see. We'll see how that's going to go. There's still a lot of moves that the Ravens can look to make. But again, most of the moves the Ravens are going to make in free agency is just going to be internal. Wow, you guys can't block. They can't tackle. Most of the moves they're going to make is just going to be internal moves. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, they just want to retain the talent. They're going to retain some guys. They let a lot of guys go in free agency. They just want to retain that talent. And that's pretty much it. I'm literally running plays to stop the run, and they can't stop the run. That's hilarious to me.
Working inside the red zone. Near the goal line.
Literally running plays to stop the run, and they absolutely can't stop the run. Parsons would go to the Chargers over the Ravens because Chargers have $100 million. Yeah, he would go where he could get money. That's what I'm saying. If the Cowboys were to release someone like a Micah Parsons, which they would never do, they would have to trade him. If they were to release someone like Micah Parsons, absolutely, they would absolutely have to. If he was to be released, the Ravens will absolutely have to give up on him because they're not going to be able to afford him. He's just going to go anywhere where he can get the money that he's looking for. That's just how it is. Why was Wiggins' cheeks in the playoffs? I don't even think they really targeted him. I don't even remember seeing Wiggins consistently get targeted or anything. The person that was cheeks is no longer on the team, and that was what's his name? That was jeez, I almost forgot his name. Brandon Stevens. That was the person that was actually cheeks in the playoffs. I don't remember seeing Nate Wiggins do anything major. If you're talking about the one play they gave up to against the Steelers that resulted in the touchdown to George Pickens, part of that was him, and the other part, I'm pretty sure, was also Humphrey in that area. But again, I don't remember seeing Wiggins get beat consistently. I remember seeing Stevens get beat consistently.
Zay Flowers, the touchdown. His second scoring catch of the game. Tucker on for the extra point.
Oh my God, I can't continue to get these extra points.
We
got to make moves for our draft class too. They need 12 million to sign the class. Yeah, they're gonna make some restructure. They're cutting guys. They're restructuring things. They got a few things they got to take care of. They're absolutely going to look to do so. That's just how it is. But yeah, most of the moves Ravens are going to make in free agency is re-signing guys and cutting players, and letting a lot of these guys go. All right, we've already seen the moves be made. They've already let guys go into free agency, and we saw a couple of guys get some contracts, like a Brandon Stevens to the Jets, like Patrick Ricard getting the contract, Malik Harrison going to the Steelers and stuff. Guys have gotten contracts, and they're going to continue to get contracts. That's just what you want to see at the end of the day. Let those guys go get some contracts. We weren't going to pay them, so that's perfectly fine. But the Ravens have a few guys they need to retain. They've already added another one of those guys on the list in the Patrick Ricard. They knew they needed to keep Patrick Ricard, and they did. Now they have to go look to keep Ardarius Washington because, again, you would prefer to keep a if you can, you want to keep a guy that's produced the way Ardarius Washington's produced, especially because you don't know how your safety look is going to be. You're looking into that. You don't know how that's. Look at this. They can't tackle. They literally can't tackle. I can't do anything if they can't tackle. Look at this. And this is Mike Gesicki. And you're telling me Kyle Hamilton can't run down Mike Gesicki. All right, bro. It's one of those type of games. Like, legitimately, he's right there to make the play. Not only does he not make the play, he doesn't make the tackle. Ugh, just awful. That's like actual nasty work. But, yeah. They're going to have to keep our Darius Washington because I don't know how the safety situation is going to look for them. I don't know how the safety situation is going to look for them. I just threw that away. I don't know how the safety situation is going to look for them in the draft. I don't even know if they're going to go after the safety in the draft. So keeping our Darius Washington would definitely be someone you want to keep. I don't think we pick up Tyler Linderbaum's 5th-year option. It's $25 million for 1 year fully guaranteed. Franchise tag is $23. They're going to have to give him a contract. He's one of the best centers in football. You can't just, like, not pick him up. They're going to have to give him a contract. I don't know when they're going to do so, but they're going to have to give Tyler Linderbaum a contract. You don't want to play around with your center. You've got one of the best centers in football. You're going to have to pay him. So we know they're going to pay him. I don't know how much they're going to pay him. I don't know what the contract would look like, but they're going to have to pay Tyler Linderbaum. It won't have to be this year, though, but they will. Why did the Bengals choose to sign Gesicki over the other? I don't know. Nobody knows why the Bengals make the moves they move. Why won't they pay T. Higgins? Why do they keep franchise tagging him? How have they not gotten the contract done with Jamar Chase yet? They're pissing off some of their best players, and those best players are actively coming out and saying, I'm just gonna ask for a trade or just like move on somewhere. Why do the Bengals do things that they do? I don't know. I can't answer that question, and it's not my question to answer. That's a question they have to answer. Now I could care less what they choose to do. In all honesty, I could really care less.
And now it's 2nd down. Tight end in motion left. Lamar throwing again.
Look at this. Why does a swing take 12 years to get home?
It's incomplete.
That's so nasty. It's so nasty to work like that.
No connection on the last play.
But yeah, the Bengals do what they do because they do what they do. I couldn't speak for you as to why they do some of the things they do. But they do them. And of course you don't catch it. You think the Ravens should trade for it? No, we don't have the money to pay this guy. Y'all, where are y'all going to get this money from? We don't have the money to give him what he wants. No. And even if they were going to try to, why would the Bengals trade him in? All right, no. Let me just leave it like that. I'm not going to get this. No. I need to learn. I need to learn to keep a lot of my my takes, my responses to just single-digit words. No. Are they gonna? No. Let me just leave it like that. I don't need to go into the. No, they're not going to do that. They're not. Nobody can make a tackle today. That's crazy. They already asked for a trade and still played. Yes, they did. I mean, they're not. I don't think they're gonna just sit out for the entire season. Of course, they're still gonna play. They both asked for a trade and they both still played.
It's amazing how fast these guys are on the field.
Yet, despite that, it hasn't stopped them from still asking for the contract. They both still played, but it hasn't stopped them from asking for their contract and asking for a trade. At the end of the day, the Bengals are not going to afford to be able to pay them. Like, they have to at some point make a decision.
Well, Brock, this substantial deficit sure hasn't
Bengals are I'm gonna just say no. Of course, not gonna trade to Lamar. I'm not even gonna ask a question anymore. I gotta learn to keep my responses to single digits. Single digits, just one word responses. No, they're not going to. No, they're not going to do that. Let's just leave it like that. But yeah, the Ravens. They're not gonna make a lot of moves in free agency. I keep trying to tell people this. Don't expect them to make a lot of moves in free agency. They're not. Y'all not getting nothing from us. We are rivals. I don't even know why you would. Why? Jeez, I can't speak right now. I don't know why anyone would even entertain the thought. Oh, look, this is gonna be a flag. How the hell? And then he's just slow walking across the middle. We already know, buddy. We already know. I like how everything's just slowed down and literally nothing is going well. Oh no, this is Ooh, this is not good.
Jackson looking to throw.
Immediately getting hooked because there's nowhere to go. Immediately getting hooked is crazy. But yeah, the Ravens aren't going to make a lot of moves in free agency. We just gotta understand that they're not going to make a lot of moves in free agency. They're just not. They're not going to make a lot of moves in free agency. Niners just signed Demarcus Robinson. Well, they had to sign somebody. The Rams said, we don't want Demarcus Robinson. We're going to go get our hands on. Oh, well. We're going to go get our hands on Devontae Adams. So you got Devontae Adams and you got Puka Nacua. Whew, that's a dangerous duo. That is a dangerous duo. That is a dangerous duo. Also, the Niners absolutely needed somebody. I'm not gonna lie, San Francisco's lost so many players right now. I would have some concerns about that team. I would legitimately have some concerns about the Niners in terms of where they're going. Hello? Pressing? The hell's going on? But yeah, I don't know what the Niners have lost so many players. So I'm just gonna let this clock run down as I proceed to not be able to do anything. Who do you think gets Cooper Kupp? I have no clue. I'm kind of okay. So game just broke on me. I can't even do anything. I can't. I'm pressing the goddamn X button. Excuse me for my language. I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, just let the clock run down because I can't do anything. I can't do anything. The game just bugged out. I can't do anything. I'll take the flag. I can't do anything. The game literally just bugged out for no reason. I couldn't click on it. You didn't see any options come up for me to call a play. Literally put me in that situation for absolutely no reason. But yeah, I don't know where Cooper Kupp could potentially go. It'd be funny if he ends up going to a rival. It'd be real funny if he goes to a rival. It's just bandwagon fans just want Ravens to get everything. Us real fans of Ravens know how they work. They don't trade for players unless they know they'll get the player. The Ravens aren't going to really trade for a player unless they're planning to give them a contract. Like, if they're going to make a huge trade for a major player, they're most likely going to look to sign him. Which is why when they traded for Roquan Smith, they gave him that contract because they were planning to give him a contract. They wanted Roquan Smith to be the pillar of their defense for the next several years. So they knew trading for Roquan Smith was going to work out for them because they had already planned to give him a long-term deal. It's just, it worked out the way it is. Out of all the signings I've seen yesterday, I have no idea. I had no idea Pittsburgh signed Darius Slay. Pittsburgh signed a bunch of people. They signed DK, they signed Slay, they got Malik Harrison now. It's just like, the Steelers are getting players. They don't have a quarterback, but damn, they got players. You know, they got players. It works for them. I mean, the Steelers have talent. They're an interesting roster, an interesting team. Ravens traded for Ngakoue and didn't sign him. Well, the plan was to sign him, but it didn't work out. They saw him play, and it just did not work out in the system. So, yeah, it's not like they just immediately gave Roquan Smith that contract. The plan was ultimately to keep someone like Ngakoue if he could thrive in their defense. But he did not thrive, so they had no reason to give him a contract in the offseason the way it worked out for Roquan. Roquan came in and immediately changed life for them defensively, so obviously he got his money. Why did the, like, again, I don't know if I don't know if they would have given him a contract. Oh, okay, so I can't switch out of this. Okay, just have to eat it because apparently we went fast. I was trying to run the ball on first down. Too late now.
Now from the 6 after that last play. Here's 2nd and goal.
Check my email. That might be my other email. I can look for it. I can definitely check. It's probably my other email. I'll take a look at it, guys. I'll take a look at it. I have 2 emails, and that one has been not showing me things for a while now. So I'm gonna take a look at if there is something there. You're ready to get this over with. But yeah, not much left to really talk about. Why did the Titans sign that tackle I've never heard of? I don't know why the Titans did what they did. I don't know. Okay? I don't know. I don't know.
Give him 4 that time, so 6 to go on 2nd down.
Yeah, that defense was flying to the ball. You see that outside toss?
Yeah, sure. I'll probably leave it. I'll leave in the comments after the stream. I'll leave the email that best works.
Burrow from the gun. Escapes the pocket. Trying to get away from the pressure, but he can't, and they drop it.
Which the Ravens,
And that pushes them back. Third down coming up.
getting D-Hop is okay, but I think they're more so focused on getting back guys like Darius Washington. They're more so, nobody can make a tackle still. Nobody can make a tackle still. It's very funny.
He's got a huge gain and a first down. Burrow out of the shotgun. Pocket isn't holding up. They're able to drop it.
Ravens need to, no, they're not going to do that. Get him off the team. I don't need him to stay here. Wink wasn't playing him like the Vikings did. He didn't fit Wink's scheme, and it did not work out. So once it didn't work out, they were like, time to move on. He didn't fit the scheme, and they just moved on.
This offense may want to try and disguise their run a little bit. I don't know if it's
Every time we cover 3, I'll get the other top.
I don't know if it's
Oh, great. They done switched the play now, forcing me to stick with this. All right, this should be fun.
Third and long. Here's Burrow.
Can he stay in Wiggins? Come on, spin. Tiptoe. Ah, he stayed. I'll take the pick. But yeah, he didn't fit within the scheme that they were working for, so it's like, you know, you gotta go where you gotta go with some of these things. It is what it is. I'm not overly concerned. If it would have worked out, he would have got a contract here. It didn't work out, you kind of just move forward from that.
Okay, you strike out, you throw an interception, but you gotta go get it in that next series. Gotta put these interceptions behind.
But it is what it is at the end of the day. You kind of just take it how it is.
It's a 33-yard gain and a fresh set.
Overall, Ravens still got moves to make. They still got things to do, and we're gonna see how things go for them. You know, free agency is not gonna be eventful for the Ravens, but I am looking forward to ultimately seeing who they could choose, who they retain. Because again, I think retaining Darius Washington is important. That's just me.
This is one of those games you appreciate. There's going to be peaks, there's going to be valleys, there's going to be mountaintops. Just like pitchers.
No pass rusher fits the Ravens scheme. No pass rusher fits the Ravens scheme. No one. Okay, that's what threw me off. No one will thrive here. Myles Garrett could come here and not get 10 sacks. Dude, Odafe Owe got 10 sacks on his defense, so I'm not gonna listen to that. If Odafe Owe can get 10 sacks here, then yes, anybody can get 10 sacks on this defense. Matabike had like what, 12 sacks, 13 sacks before he got his contract. You could get, dude. Kyle Van Noy nearly had 10 sacks here. So yeah, I mean, like you could thrive here. You can absolutely thrive here as a pass rusher. Not saying you're going to be the very best of the very best, but guys can at least be productive here. You're hearing Joey Bosa. You're hearing Joey Bosa to the Chiefs. I've been hearing talks about the Niners trying to get the brothers together, but I think they may have lowballed them.
Slated downs to approach here from the 40. Going with Brown on the ground. And a couple of teammates
but we'll see.
There for the stop after just 1 yard. They'll come to the line here, 2nd and 9. Here's Brown again. And it's a rare defensive win on the ground. He's caught at the line. No gain here after a gain of only 1, and now they'll face 3rd and 9.
As that linebacker makes that tackle right.
I've always sacks with the Raiders games in the first Steelers games.
Because that's a middle drill right there.
Fair, but again.
What you do in training camp, coming to life.
But again, anyone can. You didn't say how they were going to be made. I didn't say how it was going to be made. I just said he got them. At the end of the day, he got him. Didn't say how it was going to happen, but it happened. So, you know, you take it how you take it. Oh, damn.
And this will be his 2nd effort of the contest. And this one is crushed. Wow, beautiful punt here. That is going to go for 60 plus.
Okay, I got 32 seconds.
And there was nobody down there to get it. Punt hit at the 7, but continues on into the end zone for a touchback. We see the Ravens making their way out now.
Okay, I'm going to need to...
Chased out to his right.
He
tucks it and takes off. And he'll push this upfield and earn them a new set of downs. Now the Ravens are going to use the first of their timeouts. And they still have
He
two
had 5
available
sacks,
for
but
them
2
as we
got
approach the
taken
end of
away.
this game. In quite the
Oh,
time
Bateman
crunch here,
just
Brock,
got
but
the
still
best
2 timeouts
freaking
to
route.
burn.
You
It's
run.
first down.
And we
Here he
can't
is
get
to
freaking
throw.
set. Oh, it's there. It's there. It's
Bit of
there. It's there. It's
desperation
there.
on
It's
this
there.
deep shot.
It is there. Keep your feet. No, don't go out of bounds, dude. Oh my God. Do not go out of bounds. What are you doing?
In quite the time crunch here, Brock, but still 2 timeouts to burn. It's first down. Setting up to pass. Forced out to his right. Now here he goes. And he's out of bounds inside the red zone, just short of the 15.
But yeah, anyone can come on this defense and just get productive stats. Let's not make it seem like nobody can do
On the
anything
move,
here.
headed right. And they pull it off. A touchdown catch in the final.
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Now overtime.
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Right here are on the
I'm not
table.
even gonna lie to you. I thought Slay was a Ravens lock. I think a lot of people thought Slay could potentially come here.
So here's a big play from the Ravens as they line up for 2. All or nothing, they'll run it.
Get off, Fake.
He will reach the
No!
end zone. The defense
No!
gets the stop they need, and that could win them
Heartbreaking
this game.
loss is crazy.
Ooh, this one's gonna
Oh,
be
wait,
talked
time
about,
out.
partner. They could have kicked the extra point and forced overtime. Instead,
Wait, where
risk
is
the
the other side?
game on one play and come up empty.
I thought Slay was a Ravens move. Potentially.
Okay, you know it. It's going to be talked about all over town for the whole week. There's
Oh,
a
he
ton of
caught
risk,
that too.
ton
That's
of risk.
crazy.
But you make that decision based
All right, that
on
should
the
be good.
minutes that preceded it. Right? And looking at this game,
If you're a Ravens fan, you only watch. I didn't want to go to overtime, so I just said let me go for 2.
going to overtime. They just couldn't get it done.
I could have won this game. I could have really just gone to overtime and won this game.
Moments of the game, every
Ain't
second
gonna do that.
counts.
Watch this DB.
You want to be right next to that official to see him in.
You know, the sad part is I actually predicted. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I was busy reading the comments. I was literally reading the comments, and by the time I looked back up, I was down by like 25, and I was like, what happened in this game? So I had to come back down 25, and I didn't want to go to overtime because I wanted to end the stream.
Which was held by Washington since 1966. Now a new
You think Golden State can make it out of the first round this year? It depends on who they're facing off with in the first round. If they get the 5th seed, it's a 4-5 matchup against what Memphis, they could potentially get out of the first round.
So long, everybody.
Yeah, they're roaming around 6 or 7 seed, which most likely will match them up with either Denver, LA, or OKC the first round. Again, if they can get to that 5th seed and if they can match up with Memphis in the first round, they can win. But I don't like them against LA. I don't like them against, obviously I don't like them against OKC or Denver, but LA may be troublesome in some cases. I'm a little bit concerned about LA. Excuse me, yes? But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. If they can get that 5th seed, they'll be fine. If they can get that 5th seed, they'll be fine. We'll just have to go from there. In terms of how they would fare against a team like Memphis. But if they don't get that, they end up with Denver or LA or OKC. I don't know if the Warriors can win that one. Right now, I just look at it right now. There's tiers. The first tier in the NBA right now is OKC, Boston, OKC, Cleveland, and Boston. Then you got that next tier where you're looking at a team like Denver. And then after that, you're looking at LA, teams like LA and Golden State potentially. And then after that, it's like potentially a team like the Knicks or Memphis in that situation like that. But yeah, we'll see what happens come playoff time. I am excited for the NBA playoffs. It should be fun. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much all we have to discuss here. DeAndre Hopkins is a Raven. The Ravens do something in free agency. They go get a receiver to basically fill up that spot that Nelson Agholor had. And we'll go from there. I have no idea what DeAndre Hopkins is going to do for this offense, but we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'm going to end it here. Till next time, guys, be sure to stay safe and peace out.